Hello YouTubers, I'm bringing you a video today, something that you guys should be on the lookout for that I believe is fairly overlooked. Most people probably don't see any value in it, or they don't even know what the heck they're looking at, and that is, well, if you couldn't tell by the title, Zip Drives and Jaz Drives. And what a Zip Drive and Jaz Drive is sort of like a floppy disk. They were in between the CD era and the floppy disk era. They came after the floppy disk and sort of got taken over by CD and DVD discs because of how much data and how much cheaper it was to make a CD or DVD. But they were out late, kind of 98, 99. You saw them in a lot of Windows 98 machines and XP machines. Basically, they look like this. And these are the discs that went in them. This would be a Jaz drive, and is that an orb? Yeah, orb drive, Jaz drive, whatever you want to call them. They go in there. They're basically funky looking floppy disks. If you've ever seen these before and wondered what the hell they're for, people used to use them just like a CD or a floppy to store media on. They just stored a lot more than your average floppy disk or anything like that. You know, I seen these in a few of the higher end computers and at computer stores. Like, to give you an example, this is one of the Jaz drives, a 1 gigabyte, right? It has a price on it when it was new. Cartridge, Jaz drive, 1 gigabyte was $135 Canadian for that sucker brand new. So they were a lot of money, and these things still bring $40 or so on Amazon and on eBay, and they sell fast, which is nice. And usually you can get these and look for them sealed, but usually you can get these things for $1 or $2 or 50 cents, like garage sales and Goodwills, because people either assume it's old dead technology, and which it is old technology, and there's no value in it, and they just want to get rid of it, or they really don't know what they're looking at, so they let them go cheap. And I'll show you a little bit later here some of the things I got. I got a large haul of this stuff, all for free, and it was all free because basically of networking. I have people that know I look for certain items, and this gentleman knew I was looking for vintage electronics and old computer parts and things like that, and he used to manage a store in London here called Superior Computers, and it was sold off, and he took a bunch of stuff with him from the 90s, which were, again, all these Jaz drives and what the heck are the other ones? Zip drives. So he gave me, I got about 8 or 9 of the or 2.2 gig readers. I got a bunch of 1 gig, 250 megabyte Jaz drives. But yeah, like I said, that's what you want to look for. They're your standard 4-pin power on the back, if you guys remember what that was. And it used to have the old tape plugs that went in here to connect them, not nowadays with the SATA wires. But yeah, watch for these things. I do see them at garage sales and things like that occasionally for a couple bucks, and I will pick them up. Testing them, how I test them, honestly, I have a spare PC power adapter, an old motherboard, and I'll just plug them into the 4-pin here. I'll see if the light comes on, which is right there on this one. I'll stick a drive in and see if it makes the reading noise, and that's good enough for me. I don't have the programming to test these on the computer. And I do note that in the description, know if you are going to get into electronics, expect returns. Don't get mad about them, they happen. You know, if someone gets this and says, oh, it's dead on arrival, and they're lying, whatever, they get the refund anyways. It's not worth the argument for the $30. And you know what, out of those 15 plus drives I have, I bet 2 or 3 will get returned for the most part, so I'm not too worried about it. I've already had a bunch sell too, so I'll show you guys. I think I've had 3 sell in the last 2 days, and they've only been listed for 2 days. One went to the US, and another gentleman bought 2, and they went to the Netherlands, and he paid the $38 shipping to get them to the Netherlands, and he paid as soon as I sent him the invoice. So you know, that's another note. Don't be scared of international shipping and some of the costs. You might think, oh my gosh, that's ridiculous. I would never pay $30 to ship it. Well, you know, you might not pay that $30 to have it shipped to you, but that gentleman may need one of these. Maybe he's building an old XP machine or Me machine or 98, and he just can't find these in his local area, so his only option is eBay, and I might be one of the closest sellers or with the best shipping. Canada, I send these free shipping, $25. You know, it eats up $8 or so for the shipping, but that's fine because I have nothing into these ones. US, I ship them a couple bucks over to the US. They're about $5 to send to the US. Yes, it's cheaper for me to send stuff to the States than to Canada for most part, even though I live in Canada, go figure. whatever. Most of my business comes out of the States anyway, so thank you everyone from the US who's watching and buying things off me, I guess. But yeah, that's just wanted to bring that to you guys' attention, because I don't know how many people know about these old vintage computer parts. Not just these drives too, but also if you come across old Windows 98 software, the old Pentium 2, Pentium 3 machines, even the Pentium 1 machines. People really like building the old DOS machines, and I don't know why. I guess the same reason I like collecting video games. Maybe some of those guys when they were younger, they really liked the old PCs, they were building computers, but you know, they maybe never had the money to build that $2,000 computer back in '98 when they were a kid. Now they do, so they build it. Yes, there's better systems, but they build it for that nostalgia kind of feeling. And if I can tell you guys anything, nostalgic items bring some of the best money. People feel old, they want to remember their childhood, they want that feeling of youth again, and they will pay money to get it. I'm bad for it for the damn video games. So that's something to know too. That's why people buy it, if you're wondering who buys this old PC stuff. And then younger kids too, I see they just like screwing around with old technology to see kind of where we've come along and what we used to have and things like that. Also watch for dot matrix printers is another really good kind of vintage PC thing to pick up. Garage Flips actually picked one up for a pretty good price, and he sold it for over $100 when he sold it. Also, actually, if you guys have never checked him out, check out Garage Flips. He's got a really good YouTube channel. I'll leave a link in the comments below or in the description below. But that's another thing, the dot matrix printers, the old disk drives, the old zip drives, Jaz drives, even the old 3.5-inch floppy drives, you'll still get $10, $12 for one of those. They're not as popular to sell, probably because there's so many of them produced. The Jaz drives were a smaller run. They're kind of a smaller section of time they're around for. So they're a little more niche, but again, they still sell quick and they bring decent value. Other things to watch out for would be if you see the old Voodoo graphics cards, like the Voodoo 2s, Voodoo 3s, PCI sound cards, like the Sound Blasters, Pentium 1s, 2s, and 3s. Complete computers, if you find a Pentium 3 complete with an operational version of Windows 98 SE or Windows 95, take a look at them. Some of these things are selling for $300, $400, and people are paying the $100+ shipping to get these old complete PCs, so they can, just like how everyone buys the old vintage consoles, they can do their vintage gaming and things like that and relive their youth. Pentium 4s, not too good. They're sort of too new to be retro and vintage and cool, and they're too old to really do anything nowadays. They're something that would be worth their value in scrap. I'm sure in 20 years they'll go up too because of the nostalgia feeling, but stay away from the Pentium 4s. If you find, the newer Pentium 4s, maybe with the LGA 775, it'll say like 775 by the CPU. Those are still decent. You can still get quad-core CPUs, so those motherboards can still bring good money. The CPUs can still bring okay money. People who don't really have the money to build a brand new system but need something to work will pick those up. Even those complete, I get $75, $80 for off of Kijiji and Craigslist. So something to watch out for. I'll get you guys a closer look at what the zip drives look like, what the orb drives look like, and kind of what the fronts of them look like, so you have more of a better idea when you're outsourcing for stuff if you come across them. So, these are the zip drives I picked up. Now these are the things that I was saying you guys should watch out for, minus that one on the top right there. That's just a regular 3.5-inch floppy drive. Anyways, a lot of guys take these vintage PC parts and they recycle them for scrap. You shouldn't really do that. I mean, you can if you want. One of the main reasons you shouldn't is these things will bring me, $20 and up a piece for each one. As said, these were given to me, so there's no cost into them. They'll go about $20 with free shipping. And if you were to try and salvage these for the gold and silver values in them for recycling electronics, there's only like $3 here, maybe $4 here if you're lucky, worth of stuff, and weeks upon weeks of work and disassembling them and using acids and all sorts of dangerous chemicals. So, the big hype with the whole electronics recycling thing, don't let it get to your head if you thought about it. It's more work than you think. Unless you're bringing in thousands of pounds of this stuff, it's honestly, for the most part, not worth it, because $20 for each one of these zip drives, that's, there's $100 sitting right here, and that's not counting the 3 that I've already sold. And that's 10-15 minutes each one, right? A couple pictures for the Jaz drive or the zip drive, and then just listing them on eBay, which really doesn't take that much time, and I'm getting $20 a piece and up for them, where like I said, for gold value you're not going to get that. You're going to get a couple dollars if you're lucky for all of them, and it's going to be a pain in the ass to take them all out. Now if you see these, pick them up. They're called Jaz Drives, or they're called Zip Drives, and you can tell because they will say, you can see it in the corner there, that's a Zip 250, which means you can do up to a 250 megabyte drive in there, a disk drive. The Orbs do 2.2 gig, and they're actually Apple compatible too, so a lot of people look for these ones. Basically, if you're looking for the media for them, they look like a standard floppy disk. They're thick, so they do look a little different. I will show you what one looks like shortly, because they actually can bring more money than the actual Zip drives and Jaz drives themselves. Now the Orb one I'll show you, that's called, I believe, a Jaz drive. I don't know the whole kind of detail on these things. I just know they're worth a bit of money. A lot of people like building the old vintage PCs and things like that. So if you do see this kind of stuff, don't pass by it. You can usually get it for cheap, and it doesn't bring huge money, but it sells fast. These things sell within a week or two. Like I said, I've already had 3 sold, and it's only been 3 days since I listed them. So yeah, I'll show you what the media looks like. Other than the Jaz and Zip drives, look for these kind of things. This is the Zip drives. It's a 100 megabyte disk. This one's sealed, so I can't really show you what it looks like, but it basically looks like a thicker floppy. These are the Orb ones that are 2.2 gig discs. See, they're thick. Inch earlier, they're probably about a 1/4 inch thick. This is an open one, but these are what they look like, right? They slide. Just, it's hard to do with one hand, but they basically just slide in there like so. I don't want to put it all the way in because these ones need power to eject them, and I don't want to have to plug it back in to eject it. So that is an Orb drive. Again, they were kind of, if you guys haven't seen one of these, they were after floppy disk but before CD. They were kind of right in between. Not a lot of people heard about them because CD basically took over CD and DVD disc. But yeah, watch for these things if you see them at garage sales. If you've ever wondered what these weird kind of floppy looking discs are, they are large storage discs for Jaz and Zip drives. Again, there's a Jaz drive, there's a 1 gig one. There's a sealed Orb drive formatted for IBM, blah blah blah. But these, like this sealed, brings $25–30 Canadian on Amazon. It brings about the same on eBay as well, just for one of them, and they sell really quick. So I got a couple of them. The used ones, you know, I'll bundle them up and I'll get $10 a piece or something for those, and then probably about 30 plus for these. And then the Jaz drive, same thing, about $25 or so for these, because they're harder to find than the actual drives themselves. That's about all I had for you guys. Just a quick kind of be on the lookout for this stuff. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. Ask me any questions too. If there's anything else you guys want to see in these videos, please let me know. Thanks for watching, guys.